Hey everybody. My video is about, I'm sorry that I didn't do a video on the Seahawks game, a pre-game and post-game kind of video. And I didn't do a pre-game video on the Cardinal game, although I'm going to do a post-game video in this video about it. And I'm also going to talk about the Seahawks game, um, you know, and the Cardinal game, and the next weekend game against the Green Bay Packers. But let me start off with the Seattle game. It was a disappointing game. We should have, we could have won that game. We really could have, and we should have. But our kicker missed. Maybe, maybe had, Robbie Gold been playing, maybe we make that kick. Maybe he makes that kick, but it's just I don't know. It's like we're not supposed to beat Seattle. They always seem to have our number for some reason. I don't know what it is, but they always seem to have our number. It's really frustrating. We did beat them last year, but we got to flip the script. I mean, if we're ever going to be successful in this division, we have to learn how to beat them because they're always been in our way. They've always been the roadblock. We've got to get past them next time. People who say we're no good because we lost it, that's ridiculous. It was a very evenly matched game. The score was pretty much even. We won we could have won that game if our kicker had made that kick. Some people say we should have went for the tie. Nothing wrong with that. We'd still be up a couple of games over them, but it is what it is, and it's over now. So we move on. We'll play them again in week 17. Now, moving on to the Cardinal game. I'm glad that we won that game because we needed to. Had we lost that game, Seattle would be in first place because they would own the tiebreaker because they would have beaten every team at least once in that division. We've beaten the Cardinals twice, so I think in a tiebreaker maybe we would have the advantage so far because we've beaten the Cardinals twice. They've only beaten the Cardinals once, I think. But I don't know. I don't know how that mathematically works entirely. But the game was good. I mean, it was we got down by 16 points. We were behind by 16 points, and I believe we should have. I was starting to think that this thing was going to be out of hand. We couldn't move the ball. Defensively, we couldn't stop them from moving. And when that happens, you end up, you could, a blowout can happen, because you can't score and they're just scoring like crazy. The team toughened up, the defense toughened up, and the offense started to do things. It started to move the football, and Jimmy Garoppolo got us back into the game. Although he threw a couple of interceptions. One of the interceptions was very oddball because he threw it in an area where there was all Cardinals. There wasn't even any 49er receiver in the vicinity. It was just all Cardinal players, and I'm like, why did he throw it there? That is ridiculous. What did he see, or was it just one of those timing things where the ball was going to be thrown there regardless, or maybe the receiver ran the wrong route on a timing pass or whatever. But it was just a weird interception. The second interception that Jimmy Garoppolo threw, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't. I mean, it was bad. Any interception is bad, but but any interception is bad. But that pass was deflected off the tight end. So deflections happen. Receivers, balls bounce off their hands and falls into the hands of the defender. That's basically what happened. So I'll let that one slide, but that first one was unacceptable. Also, but he brought us back. He brought us back in that game. We we eventually, got back into it and won the game. And it was very nice to get that win because after the loss to Seattle, it gets the monkey off our back, and it was important to stay on top in the division. So, all in all, a good victory. kind of an ugly victory, kind of a sloppy victory, but nevertheless a win. Um, One thing I'm concerned about as far as our defense is our run defense. I don't think our run defense has been playing good lately. Look at all the yards that that they were just slashing us. The Cardinals were just slashing us against our run defense, and I think Seattle did so too. And I think before Seattle, the first meeting with the Cardinals, they were able to run the ball against us. I'm concerned about that. We got to do a better job with our run defense. I know that Quan Alexander is out for the season, but still, this is an area we need to tighten up because every time another team gets its running game going, it's very hard to you know to control the game. But I think that our defense has to start playing a little bit better. I think that they have to do a little bit better. Also, our defense does struggle though against mobile quarterbacks. We played Kyle Murray twice. We had to struggle against him, trying to stop him. Um, you know, just recently, a week ago, it was Russell Wilson. We had a hard time containing him. There was one run where he ran up the middle and got a first down and put them in a scoring position. And by at that point, it was over. It was going to be over. So, we got to do a better job at dealing with these mobile quarterbacks. We got a mobile quarterback coming up in a couple of weeks when we travel to the Ravens. Jackson is just playing lights out right now, and that is going to be a hard quarterback to contain. He's young, he's energetic, so that could be a difficult one right there. And it's a 10 a.m. game. And usually West Coast teams that travel east and play those 10 a.m. games, it's like playing in the morning. And you're going to play against a very explosive team. Could be a rough game. Could be a loss. It could be a potential loss. But we got to get ready for that. But the Cardinal game, I'm glad we won. The 49ers were favored by 10, and they won the game by 10 because of a strange. I guess the Cardinals were trying to flip it around, to try to get downfield and score. But then there was a turnover, and a ball flickered backwards into the other end zone, and to our own, and for some reason, I don't know why that happened. The ball just kind of like flicked over like that. I didn't see anybody flick it over. It looked like something out of a Madden game, glitch or something. But but the 49ers got the score on that play. They got the ball in the end zone, and they won the game by 10. So I guess for people in Vegas, that really worked out for them, who betted for the 49ers by 10. But yeah, it was a good win for us, important win for us, and we need to keep this game going. Right now, as far as us running the ball, I'm not really happy. Right now our running game hasn't been all there. It hasn't been there the last few weeks. It seems like it's been slowed down. We need to, we got Kyle Juszczyk back. We need to start getting that running game going. Jimmy Garoppolo could get hurt because he's being forced to throw the ball a lot. We don't want to put him in that kind of situation. So, we got to fix that. One thing I noticed in the game, there was a point in the game where Jimmy Garoppolo was limping just a little bit, and that had me a little concerned because of the ACL injury he had a year ago. But all in all, it's a good win for us. We needed it, so it's great. But now moving on to the Packers. The Packer game, I like our defense's chances. I like our matchup with the Packers because our defense has been struggling against mobile quarterbacks lately, but Aaron Rodgers is not as mobile as those other quarterbacks that I had just mentioned. He's not as mobile, and our defense does a really good job against pocket passing quarterbacks. So, as good as Rodgers is, I think we can get to him and disrupt things. But our defense has to do it flawlessly and continuously. Take him out of his game, and because Aaron Rodgers, he is a big star, but our defense, I think, can disrupt him and get to him, and that's what we need to do. Maybe even force turnovers. It's going to be, but it'll be an interesting game. Um, we'll see how our offense does against their defense, because I think their defense. I've heard things about it that's a little bit on the borderline or whatever, but I think that we need to get a running game going. We need to get that running game going. Um, and the thing is too, like in games, when people say, "Well, this defense isn't that good," they're not. They rank this in run defense, or rank that in pass offense. We should have an easy time. But see, the thing is, sometimes teams make adjustments during that week. They hear all this talk about, where they rate in certain areas, and they make adjustments to better their situation. So we're gonna have to, be ready for anything in that game. It's a Sunday night game. It's the week before Thanksgiving. It'll be one of those probably a very watched game, and that's when Aaron Rodgers wants to put on a show. So we got to be ready for him. I think our defense can. Now, our defense did get some injuries, so it's been kind of weakened a little bit over the past weeks. We had that injury to Quan Alexander. He's out for the season. Blair is out for the season. D Ford maybe a couple of weeks with a hamstring strain. He may be out for a couple of weeks. So Aaron Rodgers is not going to face a very as potent defense as the other quarterbacks in the early part of the season have faced. But still, we got Bosa, we got Armstead, we got Buckner, and Greenlaw has shown that he can play really well. And Fred Warner is playing good, so we can still bring it. And I'll be this is an important game coming up, really important game. All these games are important. These games can really decide the direction of the division and the conference. You got the Packers, you got the Saints, and then there's us. There's the Cowboys. All these teams that are on top of their division right now are all fighting for that first round bye. I don't think Dallas is going to get it, though. I think they're too far down. But I think that we, the Saints and the Packers, it's still up in the air right there. But if you get a first round bye, that's good. But the Packers they're going to be playing for that first round bye too. I'm sure that's on their mind when they play us. I think that we need to get that running game going when we play the Packers. Getting that running game is so important. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo can't keep passing the ball every game, every time. I mean, that's going to put him at risk of getting hit. Now, teams are, they're basically trying to figure out our offense. They're shutting down our running game. They're putting a lot of guys up there in the box. They're shutting down our running game, trying to take away the play action pass, and they're trying to make Jimmy Garoppolo just beat him with his arm. And it's worked kind of. I mean, it almost worked against Seattle, but it worked pretty good. Against the Cardinals and twice. So if that happens, we got to go out there and we got to just Garoppolo's just going to have to fling it. But we got to get the running game going. This will take pressure off the quarterback. This will take pressure off Jimmy Garoppolo, and we can move the football better and just play good defense, sound defense. I'm glad we're going up against a pocket passing quarterback because that's what our defense is best at. But these scrambling quarterbacks, and there's a lot of them in the league right now. This kind of reminds me of 2012. Remember in 2012, you had all these running quarterbacks: Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo. Who was that? Who was that one guy? There was another guy, Robert Griffin III. There was him. You had all these scrambling running quarterbacks during it. It's kind of like that again. But this is something that's that is new in the NFL. There's probably going to be a lot of scrambling running quarterbacks. Got to prepare for those kind of teams. But the Packer game, I think that Rodgers, he can scramble too. He can run. He can pick up first downs with his legs. I mean, he's not a dual threat quarterback like the like Murray or Wilson or any of those guys or Jackson. So we just kind of have to be ready. Ready for the Packers. I mean, and it's kind of neat. Next week is Thanksgiving week, and it's going to be neat. Packers and 49ers on Sunday night, and then the Thanksgiving week. It's going to be nice. Nice week of football. I think that we can beat the Packers. We just have to play better, and we have to play better run defense. I mean, I'm really that's the one area that I'm concerned is our run defense because we're not really slowing them down too much. Teams that we play against, teams are just running the ball down our throat, and I think teams are trying to do that because they want to wear our defense down. They want to tire our defense down because our defense is good at pass rush. They're trying to wear our defense down with this running game, running at us, and then they try to take our running game away. That's how they're trying to find an answer for what Kyle Shanahan and his staff are doing. But I think other teams have kind of figured this out a little bit. I think Kyle Shanahan needs to start making adjustments, modifying things a little bit to be ahead of the game when it comes to facing these other teams. But Green Bay Packers, that's going to be a good game, Sunday night game. Not a lot of people are giving the 49ers a lot of credit, for the season they've had. I mean, the 49ers have 9 wins. So what that means is that we are now officially, it's a winning season. Regardless of what happens down the stretch, we now have a winning season. And because we have a winning season, there's no question that Kyle Shanahan should be Coach of the Year. I mean, but I think that all we need, let's see, we got 7 games remaining. All we need is maybe a couple of maybe 2 more wins. I mean, to make the playoffs. I think 10 is not a guarantee. If you're 10-6, that's not always a guarantee. Because there have been teams in the past that have won 10 games and missed the playoffs. I think that if you can get to 11, I think that would be very respectable for the playoffs. I think 11 wins. Although this race is very tight, but we just got to do a better job at certain things. But like I said before, a lot of these people are not giving us a lot of credit. Mangini, I guess on one of the shows, said that after the Seahawks beat us, he said that the Seattle is the best team in the NFC West. There is no debate. I disagree with that because while Seattle, I think I'll agree, they do have the better quarterback. I love Jimmy Garoppolo, but the Seahawks have the better quarterback. But we have the better defense than they do. Their defense played us very well on that Monday night game. But I think our defense is better, and defenses win championships. And defense is, having a good defense, you can win a lot of games. It makes it easy for your offense. So to me, I think the Niners are better. I mean, I know you Seahawks fans would disagree with that, but I'm just looking at, the fact what kind of defense we have. But it's going to be interesting. The Packers have it'll be interesting to see what they do, what they bring. I like our chances because of our defense. But, we'll see how it goes. I think that we can win this. We win this game. I think we will. We're already favored by 3 points. 3, I think 3.5. So I think that people are kind of leaning towards us to win that game. I think people are taking us seriously now. We are a good team. You don't get to this point if you're a bad team. I mean, even bad teams playing against other bad teams. Sometimes those bad teams can't win either, playing against average teams. You know, because I remember last year we played these same teams. Remember last year we played these same kind of teams last year, and we had a terrible year. This year we're playing those same teams and we're winning. We're winning. So that just goes to show you right there. But I think we'll beat the Packers. I think it will be a close game. My score will be, I'd say 28-21. We win. I think it'll be 28-21 that we'll win. It'll be a close game. Um, it'll come down to maybe a last drive, maybe a turnover that will settle it. But I think that we'll get this one. But we'll see what happens. With that. But anyways, that's all I want to say. Um, I think that I think we're heading in the right direction. I think there's no question about that. Um, so yeah, you know, what's his name? Richard Sherman was mentioning today about a possible strike coming in the future. Not this season, but in the future. So I don't know what that means. Maybe he knows something that, because I think he's part of the players union or something, or some connection with that. He may know something the rest of us don't. But that's what he was saying, and we'll see what happens. So, and Jerry Rice predicts we'll win the next 3 games. So, he's usually pretty good at knowing these things or figuring these things out, because he does bet on the games, I heard. But you know, next week it's the Packers, and we keep moving in the right direction. Nobody can say that we're not. But that's all I want to say. And everybody have a good week. Have a good work week, and happy holidays coming up. All right, everybody, take care.